Hi there, welcome back to my channel Scrap and Coffee. After I released this project as a project share and made a tutorial on how to create the base, I had quite a few people asking me, or at least letting me know, that they would like to see the process of making these elements right here with the collage papers and creating the background on the canvas. So I just finished up making that video. I've created 8 backgrounds with the same techniques, just some different colors of metallic paint, but you can use any color that you like. And then I've created one of those pieces to go in the box. So if you would like to see how all of this came together, I would say continue to watch and yeah, follow along if you want to. Enjoy. Okay, so to make these smaller pieces of art, I was working on canvas, however I need to pronounce it. So when I went to one of the stores in the shopping mall, it's not really a dollar store, but it's like a really cheap store where they sell all sort of stuff, and they also have an aisle with all these craft things, and they have a lot of the brand of Montmartre. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I feel like I need to pronounce it French. And this is like a pad with 10 sheets of A4 sized canvas. It's acid free, it's primed with gesso, suitable for oil and acrylic painting, and it says here 280 cotton dock. I don't know what that means, but if you want to know. So these sheets in here, I've got to size 2.5 by 3.5 inches. So basically what I do is I just rip out one of the sheets, and then on the back I measure and I mark, and then I use like one of these to cut it. Now the last time I've used this on camera, I cut a piece of my finger. So I'm a bit scared of using this. It makes me a bit nervous. So I decided to prepare it off camera so I could take my time on it and not rush. But you can definitely use scissors, right? You don't need to use that type of knife. I think it's actually for fabric cutting. So I like to cut them to size before I apply my paint. So I know that some people make like art where they just make one piece of art and then they cut it up. But I didn't want my black to go to the edges, so that's why I cut it up at forehand. So let's just start with the first step. How many pieces do I have here? I think like 8. We'll see how many we'll make, but I'm going to make one completely, and then the rest is just like prepared backgrounds for me. So I have here some black gesso. This one is from Dina Wakley Medio Black Gesso. You can use any black gesso you have. Maybe you can even use black acrylic paint. It doesn't necessarily have to be gesso, I guess. I have a bit of a paint palette here. I have a glass mat under here. Now I have this very bright pink. It's actually a baking mat, a silicone baking mat that I never use in my kitchen anymore. But on here, because the lights glare really badly on the glass mat. But normally I just work on that, on the glass. And I just put it on the paint directly on there. But sometimes I like to use the paint palette. So, and then I have like these stiff, what are they called? Brushes? They have a name. Well, doesn't matter, it's not coming to me. And I'm going to use this dry on my sheet of canvas, and I'm trying to not think about it too much. I'm just going to apply some dry brush strokes. So I'm just tapping it in here, and I don't want to have too much. So what I might do is just tap it off on my glass mat here a little bit. I'm not sure if that's in camera, but I just don't want to have too much to start off with. I might go a little heavier in a second. I'm just going to, without thinking about it, create some strokes, just like that. Put it to the side, grab a next one, a little bit more of that gesso. And some will be a bit more heavier in the paint, some will be a bit lighter. And we'll just see once I'm done which ones I like to use for my actual work that I'm going to make right now. And if I like the style of what I'm doing, I'll probably create a few more and see what we can do with it. I'm not gonna make another box. We've done that. That's done. I want to have a bit more black on here. But we'll see what we'll do. So I'm just going to finish this up for all my pieces that I've pre-cut. Okay, so I have them all done with the black gesso. Before you go to your next layer, you want to make sure that this is really dry. So I just gave them a quick blast with my heat gun. You can also just wait 5 to 10 minutes. It will dry really quickly. Now your next step will be some sort of metallic paint. Now on my project, the previous project, I used gold metallic paint and a gold backing, but I ran out of that gold paper, and also I don't want to do exactly the same. So I thought I'm going to use this copper. I've never used it before, but we're going to give it a go. And then I have some rose gold paper to go behind it. Later on I'll show you. So I put a little bit, and I just decided to put it on my glass mat here because I can control a little bit more how much I put on my brush. Now what you can also do when you're not sure is I have to go back to my bin and grab some of the cut off pieces from it. No, don't worry, it's just a paper bin. I'm not going through actual rubbish. Like, save those scrap pieces and just do your first wipe on it to make sure you don't have too much paint on there. So I just and I grabbed the smallest brush that I could find. So you want to have like a stiff brush for this. At least that's what I prefer. And I really go gently on it. So I'm not sure how well you can see that, but there is like very little paint on here, and I'm actually pretty confident that I can just go on here. And again, I'm not thinking about it too much. I don't want to have too much of this, just some here and there, a little bit. And again, they will all look very different. The key is, I would say, don't overthink it. Be free. Can be very what is it, liberating, is that the word? To just like not overthink, because if you have been following me for a longer time and you watch me with my albums, I kind of overthink everything. So it's that's maybe why I enjoy doing this at the moment so much, because I really force myself to just do and not think, which is kind of nice. But as soon as I will go to an album, I know that I will have that again, so that's all right. Okay, so we have that started right now. Now next what I want to do is to add some splatters, and you can do splatters in different colors here. Now I've selected some images already. Let me see. So I have this guy here, and he has a green scarf and his goggles have like a green light in them. And I found this moon that also has a bit of that green in it. So I want to use a combination of that. So I also selected a green paint. Now I'm not 100% sure. Oh, it's kind of nice. We'll just try it. We'll go for it. So I have a green acrylic paint. This one is called Eucalyptus. And I have some white acrylic paint. This is just titanium white. And we can even, oh, I already wiped it off, but we can even mix some of this with some water to make it thinner and make some splatters with that one as well. We'll see how we go. I think I will just start with the white and the green. Now let me see, where's my thingy. I don't know where I put it. Let's see. Here it is. So just to add some water to the paint, I just like to use this to spray it on a little bit. Where I'm going to put that. So let's start with some whites. And I just put like the tiniest bit on my work surface. I can always put more, but I try to waste as little as possible. So the tiniest of dots, it's still in frame. And I'll just spray some water on top. Maybe I need to add some more, we'll see. And I will grab a small brush. And I just have like really cheap brushes. I wanted to say I have another one right there. Like really tiny brushes. So let's start with some white. So I'm just adding the water with the white. And then just go and make some splatters. Oh, I just put a whole smush on there. Well, that's alright. We might cover it. We can be creative with that. It's not like your background is ruined because of that. Okay, I will do the same thing with the green. I think I'll try to make my brush a little wetter this time. I try not to go too heavy with the green. So because these brushes are so small, I will get like really tiny splatters. If you want to have bigger splatters, you can use a bigger brush. So there's not really a right and wrong here. Just whatever it feels like. Whatever you feel like. If you feel like you need to add a bit more of this or a bit more of that, you can absolutely can. So let's see, I have never diluted this paint before with water, so I'm not sure how it will respond to it, but... And it doesn't really matter to me if it mixes a little bit with the white right now. So just slightly, because I already have it in the background, it's just to give a different effect of that color in there as well. Okay, so before I started this project, I already selected some elements that I wanted to use. And just looking at it, I think I'm going to use this background. I think any of them would work, but I think let's see if I can find an example. Like in this one, I was using the light bulbs, and the light bulbs will provide light, right? So I try to select and turn my backgrounds. Maybe I wanted to use it in this direction or whatever, but there I was looking a little bit at the light bulbs. Like for here I have the light bulb here, and then I have the gold that came down there, which I thought that would work nice. I had another one that had a really good, this one here. Again, I have the light there, and then the gold really comes under that light. So that's how I looked at it in this project a little bit. Now I don't have any light bulbs. The moon will provide a little bit of light, but I don't think I have to look at it that much in this case. So I think I'm just going to go for this one. Although then I look like, oh, there's a lot of white there, which I might not like, but then maybe if I turn it, then it would be in this corner. Let's see, what about this one? Well, I have the same problem in every corner a little bit. I guess that's just like I don't really touch that corner a lot. Well, that's all right. Maybe this one. Let's just make that decision, that one. Okay, so I've got my images. Now, my images come from the little personas book that I have lying right here, but my desk is a little bit full. I have to be a bit careful. So this is the little personas book. This is one of the first industrial book that Maremi came out with, and I'll show you quickly the page that it comes from. You will see this is a very loved book. But it's this page. There was a boy here with the large green wings, and then there are some little personas up here, and I think all of these, I could just cut these all off and use them on this artwork and make like a collection with them. They would all work really nicely. They have a nice size, and this little boy was like in between here. So this is where it comes from. Lovely collection that I thought would really work with the copper and the rose gold that I'm going to use. Now, because I have black on my backgrounds, I am going to try to slightly ink up the edges a little bit. I don't want it to be too heavy, just to help blend that image in with the background a little bit better. So right now I have 8 backgrounds that I can just work on and can make something really quick. I only have to prepare some of the cutting and I'm ready to go. Now this comes from the Little Personas. This one comes from the Fungi book. And the moon, I'm not sure if it's from the Whispers, Industrial Whispers, like the background book, or the Bits and Bobs, one or the other. And then I have some, gosh, what are they called again? Gears. These come from the Bits and Bobs, and they are really not fun to cut out because you have to cut away the middle pieces as well if you want to do it precise. Now the moon is actually, I did it with a circle die cut because I'm terrible at cutting circles, but this die cut was actually a little bit too big, but I don't mind because I'm going to cut it off anyway. I knew I wasn't gonna use it completely on there, so that's fine. So this is never going to be perfect, that's alright. I'm just going to go over slightly to get rid of a little bit of the white parts that I still have visible, but I didn't even cut it completely. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just going to tuck that under. I was like, I couldn't be bothered anymore. I'm not the best fuzzy cutter. It takes me forever, and sometimes I like that, it's like therapy, but with these lot of things I lose my patience because I'm scared that I'm going to rip the paper and everything, so we'll just see how it goes. Okay, so that's all prepared. Now what I'm going to do is I want to have the moon in the corner, then the mushroom somewhere there with the boy in front of it, and I really like that the green is in the moon and then the green reflection in his glasses. I look like those are details that for me help to like tell the story. And then I thought maybe like one of the gears there, and it will blend away a little bit in the background right now, but like with my white gel pen I will fix that later on. And then another gear there, and then this little gear will go somewhere here where I can hide that white behind the mushroom, so something like that. The overhang I will probably cut off later, but this is how I'm going to glue it down. And then I have a little title as well. So for gluing it down I'm going to use the gel medium, soft gel matte medium from Dina Wakley. I really like to use this, but because we're working on canvas I have to be a bit, I have to apply a good amount of the glue. So I'm just going to grab a piece of printer paper that I use like to apply glue on my pieces and inking, that sort of stuff. So I'm just getting a brush. I will probably place the gel for the moon on parts where I'm not gonna glue down. But I want to have that green on the page, and then a little bit of that pinkish as well. And then I'm also going to go over the moon. That will, like, I have the slightest bit of shine on my papers, on my collage paper. Not much, but a little bit. And this one just helps to get rid of that, which I really like, without making it dull or anything. It still stays very bright. And this is always fun. Now I need to try to get it in the right spot. So somewhere like that, something like that. Yep, that's fine. So this is a bit of a puzzle now, because I want to get my pieces in the right spot before I can glue down the actual mushroom on top. So because I've tucked so much under, I could like cut pieces in half and then use it in a different spot, etc. But because I just didn't feel like cutting the whole thing, I'm just tucking it under. So this will be here, and then I'm going to place this somewhere here. Something like that. And then this one, I think I can put the mushroom down now. So what I really like to do with these pieces is to group my elements together instead of sticking one piece down here and another piece up there. So the moon is the only one that is separate from the rest. And I would have loved to have like the tiniest bird or dragonfly or something to put on that moon, but everything that I could find was just too big. So another option is to perhaps draw one, but I'm not really great at that, so I don't think I will take my chances on it. Okay, now this one. Do I want this under? I can still get it up. Maybe I'll just take this off so I can place it a bit further in under him. There we go. See, so you just play with your elements until you like what you see. Last one, the boy. So again, I'm going over, it helps to seal and it helps to make it matte, and then I can, it becomes, oh, the word is not coming to me, what is it called? Like a non-porous surface, where I can like add my gel pen on it and everything to just like highlight some of the things that I want to highlight. Now, what I'm going to do now is, ideally it would be dry, but I want to check if everything is stuck down properly, so I'll just use these scissors. I'm going to cut off the excess of the moon. And of this mushroom here. And then maybe I need to re-ink those edges a little bit to get it cohesive. I might have to clean the glue off in a second of my scissors. Now, since it's very wet, I have to be a bit careful with inking. So now I like to double check, because like I said, on the canvas it's not easy to get it all glued down in one go. I really have to make sure that I applied enough of my adhesive there. So I'm going to give it a dry with my heat gun, and then we're going to have a double check if everything is glued down properly. Okay, well, drying it, I can already tell that the shoe down here isn't glued very well, so we're going to give that a bit of extra glue. There we go, and the rest seems to be pretty well glued down. So I'm still going to knead this in a little bit, so I will just wrap this in my little wet, whatever, the words are not coming to me, I'm like, it's okay. And so now I need to let it dry for a little bit, so this would be a good moment to prepare your background layers that will go behind this if you want to. So what I did is I've prepared some cardstock, some black cardstock. So I've got the canvas to 2.5 by 3.5 inches. So my cardstock I've got to, I believe, 2 5/8 by 3 5/8, and actually even just a hair over that. And so I can glue this on here once I'm ready to do so. So then we have that little black backing. And then if you want to add even more to it, like I did, I used a die cut. That's this set that I've bought years ago on Amazon. So it's a stitched rectangle set. and I used, I believe, the second largest for this, which is just under 3 by 4. So this is 2 7/8 by 3 7/8, and my background will fit in here nicely, so I can still see the stitched edge. Then again, you can leave it right there, but to make it fit in the concertina box project where you can fit a 3 by 4, I've got a black cardstock again to 3 by 4. So that's my 4th layer that I will add right there. So those are the 4 layers, which makes this quite heavy in the end. I forgot my title needs to go on here, so let's do that so it can dry straight away. So my title, and now I forgot from what book it comes, but it's one of the 3 newer industrial books. They have 3 sizes of some sayings, or but this one, the smallest, I think this is the smallest size that were in there. It says Illuminate Darkness, and I thought that might be a nice one to use in here. So I will just cut that out, and let's see if we can stick it on there, if we can find a spot for it. Let's see if I can keep it in one piece or if I'm going to cut it in half. And we can put it here on the moon. So I always like to try different spots to see what looks good. I try to not stick it too much over at least the persona. I don't mind if it's a little bit, but not too much. It also feels too, I don't know, this doesn't feel like the right spot to me. So I think I'm going to place it higher, but I might just cut it into 2 words so we can play a little bit with the placements on this small area. So, but I don't want to cover up the green too much either, because that's part of the story for me. So maybe something like this. Yeah, that would work for me. So I'm grabbing my gel medium again to just stick that in place as well. And then while it's drying, I'm going to stick these layers together. Okay, there we go. Now to stick these layers together, it's your choice if you want to use a wet glue or a double-sided tape. Now I would love to use double-sided tape, but it's not here. I need to go grab it. That's all right, we can do that. This needs to dry anyway. Okay, got it. Now the reason that I like to use the double-sided tape instead of the wet glue is because I'm going to use quite a bit of wet glue to stick this on the black cardstock. And the more layers of wet you use, the more chance it is that your paper is going to warp. So just to help that out a little bit, I'm going to use the double-sided tape on my other layers. So I'm just going to go around the perimeter with some 1/4" tape, but use whatever you have available to you. And if you don't have double-sided tape, just use the wet glue. I just suggest that you might want to make sure that you have some of the layers dried properly before you go to the next layer. Here it is. Okay, I always like to give my tape a really good burnish to make sure that it's adhering really well to the paper. And then I need a little thingy to peel away the backings. Now you can add a little bit of wet glue, just the slightest bit, to give you some wiggle time to line everything up. But I'm doing this quite a lot, and I feel pretty comfortable that I can do this without the need of the wet glue. And now my black edge here is a little bit bigger. I can either cut a hair off, or I can just leave it and don't really be too bothered about it. And I think that's what it's going to be. For this one, yeah, let's just attach it on there. So this cardstock I didn't show you is cardstock that I've bought when I was still in Canada at the Michael's store. It's from Recollections. It's rose gold foil cardstock paper, 25 sheets. It's 65 pounds. And I hardly ever use it. The gold was the same, from the same brand. I just ran out of it. I had like one sheet to do my whole project, and I really had to use every single scrap that I had to get also like all the flower die cuts and everything. I really used the tiniest of scraps to get the smallest piece out of that die cut. But that's alright, it all came together in the end, so perfect. Okay, so now I can stick this on this one, and here I just aim to be in between my stitched edge, and then I'm happy with that. So this is prepared. Now I can still see there's a little bit of wet there, so I'm going to give that a quick try before we continue. Okay, now this is one of the reasons that I really enjoy working on this canvas, because it's not warping at all. It's just staying so flat, even though we've put on paint and gel medium. It's just holding up and it's just staying straight, which I really like, because I get really annoyed with the, like I have one of the art journals that is really not keeping my pages straight at all, even though if I heat it and then press it onto something heavy, they're just completely curled. And I really do not like that. So this is one of the advantages of this as a background. But if you only have watercolor paper, you can absolutely use watercolor paper, right? So now I'm looking for my black pen and my gel pen. Where is it? Right here. Okay, so what I like to do with this, and I intend to overdo it a little bit. I'm learning to hold back. But it's difficult because I just enjoy this process so much. It's really starting to bring the whole piece to life. But I'm going to do some highlights, and I don't know if I need to call it shading. It's more like making the lines a little bit more obvious, so your piece just comes to life a little bit. I don't know how else to say it. But like here, the boy is wearing a scarf, and I just like to accentuate the lines of that scarf, so it's just a little bit more obvious. It's popping out a little bit more, and I try not to do the whole thing, but like I said, I intend to overdo it. That's not for everybody. Just go with what you like, right? We don't all have to like the same things, and that's fine. So I'm just continuing this process. I think I'm gonna leave it there. Now for some white, I use this jelly roll. This is a 5. I'm not sure if there's also a 3 available, but I mainly intend to use the 5, and I try to do the same thing as I just did with the black, but now with the white, and just I try to find the lighter spots on my image that I want to highlight. So like here on the goggles, you see there's a little bit of lighter area here on top. So I try to touch that with my gel pen, and then here as well. So mainly the white, I feel like I intend to overdo a lot. So, which I don't hate, it's just not for everybody. But I try to practice to not do too much. So like these little things on the mushroom, just by touching them with my gel pen, they will pop out a little bit more. Then we can look at the gear here. Again, I try to find the lighter pieces that I touch with my gel pen a little bit, just to make that pop. See what I can do with these really dark pieces here. But I don't want to overdo it. Like if you do every single one, it becomes a bit, yeah, I don't know, it doesn't look good, but sometimes I fall for that. Okay, let's see. maybe on his pants a little bit of the light marks. And then I like to do the shoe. But it's like one of the areas that I will always touch. There we go. And what about this gear? Not too much, just a little bit. So I want to say don't think about the white pen too much either, but I intend to think a little bit more about where I place my whites. Like try to find the lighter areas in the image. It kind of tells you already where you can place it. So I would say try to use that as best as you can. So now this is what it looks like right now, and I really feel that adding those lines make everything pop off the background. So I really like that. Now all that's left to do is to glue this on, and then I will also show you what I did with the green, actually the pink in the other project, but I will do it with the green in this one. So I'm going to get some green paint, again just simply on my, or maybe I'm going to put it in the palette so I can add a good amount of water to it. Where did I put it? Right there. So just a little bit of paint in there. Now because I'm only doing the one card, I probably waste a little bit of my paint because I'm not going to leave it in here and then continue on another one. But if you're doing more than one card, if you just make all your little pieces of art and then you do this together, you would waste less of your actual product, right? Does that make sense what I'm saying? So I have this really flat brush. I have paint in here, I mix it with water, I want to have it really, really runny, and I'm going to just touch the edge of the card, and some areas will be a little bit heavier on the paint, some a little lighter, and that's all fine. So I'm going for green now because that's like coming back in my image. But I would suggest, if you know like what is the color that you are going to place this on, if you are using like a project like the concertina box and you're going to place it on another piece of cardstock, think also about what is the background and do you want to have it blend in with that color. So that might determine what you use here on the edge. Okay, so I went all the way around. It looks quite heavy right now, but to my experience with the other project, it will dry a lot lighter than it looks right now. So now really all that is left is to glue this on. So like I said, this is not completely dry, but I'm just going to continue now for the sake of the video, which normally I would probably give it time to dry or have this one stuck on there first before I did the edges. But for the video I'm just changing it up a little bit now. I want to have a nice thick layer, so I will probably get a bit of a bigger brush for this. So like I said, a good thick layer of the gel. And it might be that not everything sticks down in one go and that I have to add a little bit, which is fine. I'm just going to try to center it on here. You have a little bit of time to move it since it's a wet medium. Oh, that's really off. Now I'm not going over with my brush this time. I am just, see, that's why you want to dry it first. This is not what you want to happen. I'm using a baby wipe here to get rid of that a little bit. Just try to press it with my finger as best as I can, and then this needs to have some drying time before I continue. So this is the final project that we made. So I have 7 more backgrounds where I can make something similar and then create a little project to keep these safe or you frame them, or you know, there are so many lovely things that you can do with this. So I hope you enjoyed watching my process in creating these little pieces. I am contemplating on also making a video where I show you how I did the pattern paper, super easy, and then we'll use that pattern paper to make an element like this one. Again, it's really super easy. So I probably make a video of that process as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you in the next one. Bye bye.